So the big gamble. Brian, I think this was a response to your observation here a week or two ago that every time they put the women's segment on, the viewership tanks. So this time they figured, well, we'll wait until the last match and put the girls segment there. And if they tune out, that's where everybody tunes out anyway, when they see the main event come up. But they left 20 minutes on the air for Jamie Hayter against Hikaru Shida for the AEW women's title. And of course, Britt Baker and Reba were in the corner. It sounded like, from what I watched at the end, that they had the people and it had been a good match. To be quite honest with you, by the time we got to this point, I said, I don't care if this is Rhea Ripley against Charlotte Flair and they're naked. I've had enough of this fucking program and I cannot watch any more of this shit. So I went to the finish. And again, sounded like they had a good match. I'm not going to knock it. But I will knock the finish because these have got to be Tonys. They got to be. Because you would think if you've been in the wrestling business for 15 minutes, you could do better than this. So, obviously, as we said, Britt and Reba are at ringside. Hikaru Shida's kicking the shit out of Jamie Hayter. And finally, they're going to do a spot where Reba draws the referee and Britt gets up on the apron of the ring with the kendo stick. But suddenly, they saw their cue, so Britt got up on the apron with the kendo stick, and Paul Turner, the referee, and he's been on the ball because he's been around for a while. He sees her getting up across the ring and immediately snaps his head around to Reba, drawing her up because she was late. So now Reba's got the referee. Baker's got the kendo stick on the apron. Hikaru Shida pulls Baker into the ring over the top rope, and instead of fighting over the stick, Hikaru Shida is punching Britt Baker in the head barehanded while Britt Baker's just standing there holding a weapon getting punched in the head. And then Shida leaves Britt Baker alone, lets go of her. She's standing there on her feet with a kendo stick, staggering, and Shida goes to the middle of the ring and then runs back to the turnbuckle and jumps up and kicks off of the turnbuckle and drop kicks Britt Baker while she was standing there waiting for Shida to do it. And then Britt Baker drops the kendo stick. And here's the thing. Yes, it was a wonderfully snazzy move when she ran to the corner and jumped up on and blah, blah, blah. But meanwhile, on the other side of the ring, the referee's back is turned, being drawn by the other manager at ringside, and the clock is ticking. So that's where a experienced booker would say, can your goddamn fancy fucking run up the ropes, fight over that stick and get it done because the referee's distracted. But they have no restraint. So Shida then gets the stick and wallops Britt Baker with it. And Britt Baker goes to the floor, and Shida drops the stick in the ring. And it's not going to be figured in again. But she doesn't know enough about the rules of wrestling to realize that she should throw the stick out of the goddamn ring, because when the referee turns around, he's going to see a stick laying in the ring. So Reba gets down, and referee Paul Turner turns around. I put the stopwatch on it. He was distracted for 35 seconds while all that shit went on. So already, whoever came up with and laid out this finish has shit the bed. Hayter rolls through on a Hurricane Rana and into a power bomb, gets a 2 count. The people were going crazy. They should have put this on earlier before I got fed up with the fucking program. Hayter hits a clothesline, gets a 2 count, and then hits the ripcord. That's her finish. And gets the 3 count. So, after all of this interference and zabada and bullshit and caca to get the people up and into all these twists and turns, after all the interference is done with, instead of the babyface then Or in this case, the heel, actually, since the heel's going over, instead of the babyface then going for a Hail Mary, which is what she did with the Hurricane Rana, but Hayter rolled through it and came up with a power bomb. Boom, right there. 1, 2, 3, they're up. The babyface almost has it. The heel rolls through and gets a quick boom. 1, 2, 3. Instead, that's a 2 count. Then a clothesline is a 2 count. Then she hits the babyface with her finish and beats her flat in the middle. So they've gone from all this up and down and getting the people on this ride with the interference and the kendo stick and the referee turning his back and blah, blah, blah. And then get the babyface in a spot where she looks like she's going to do it, but the heel rolls through, bam, 1, 2, 3. Instead, the heel rolls through 1, 2 on the power bomb, and then another kick out, and then beats her flat with the finish. So the babyface was beaten flat. All the interference in the Gaga was for nothing. It was nullified. And they got a flat fucking finish there. And the people were loving the match, and people loved this finish. But it would have made more sense and accomplished a bit better of the point if they didn't have to, again, the heel could have snatched it away by the skin of her teeth on the power bomb, or beat the babyface flat with 3 finishes in a row. So that's what they did. And then the heels jumped on Shida to get some more heat. And here came Toni Storm. She made a save, and then they beat her up too. And then my DVR froze because they're always drastically out of time. And that was the name of that tune. Do you see what I'm talking about with the finish, or am I just being too picky?
I see what you're talking about with the finish. You did miss a good match. It was a really good match.
I will even concur with that and say that if I could have stomached any more of these people, I would have probably liked to watch it, but I needed to get the fuck out of there.